Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sree's daily COVID-19 show. This is our global conversation around COVID-19. My name is Sree Sreenivasan, and I'm the Marshall Loeb Visiting Professor of Digital Innovation at Stony Brook School of Journalism. I'm honored to convene this conversation as we talk about different aspects of COVID-19 and the global pandemic. We try not to deal with the news, but to talk around the news. What are things that you don't often see on the mainstream news, that you don't read about in the paper, and giving you a chance to meet fabulous people from around the world. This is episode number 74, which means we've been in New York on lockdown for 74 straight days. And that's right, I'm on the Upper West Side of Manhattan in New York City, and that's where the show originates, but it has people from around the world. Please tell us where you're watching from. Please tag your friends. We're live right now on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. And we'd love to hear from you. And tonight is Positivity Night. Every Sunday is Positivity Night, where we try to be realistically positive. We're not going to pretend everything is okay like someone we know in Washington. Instead, we're going to be, realistically positive and try to give you some pep in your step as you go into the work week. Some of you are watching where it's already Monday morning. So we're giving you Monday morning positivity, and the rest we're giving you Sunday night positivity. It's 9 p.m. here in New York. This show is also brought to you in collaboration with Scroll.in, one of India's leading news, culture, and analysis websites. And we're so grateful for that platform, for us working together. It has brought us a whole new audience as we do these shows. And now let me tell you who we have as a guest for tonight, and you're going to meet her in a few minutes. Patrice Tanaka is Chief Joy Officer of JoyfulPlanet.com. So what better person to have for a positivity night? I have spent time talking to her. I have been on shows with her. I have spent time with her. You are going to leave joyful and positive despite all the chaos in the world. You know someone right now who could meet and should meet a Chief Joy Officer. You know someone who would benefit from positivity. Please tag them right now on Facebook, on YouTube, retweet this, tag your friends, family. Anybody can watch this anytime from anywhere in the world. And the best way to keep track of all our shows is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You see it right on the screen. My YouTube channel is SreeNet. We have so many shows that we do. And through them all, we are so grateful for the feedback we get. People tell us this show is a lifeline. People tell us this show is uplifting. And I want to tell you, I'm uplifted by this opportunity and working with all of you. A big shout out to our two producers who work with me every day for 74 straight days. Rose Horowitz, who's Rose Horowitz 31, and Vandana Menon, Vandana_Menon on Twitter. Please follow them. They're live tweeting, sharing, etc. Tomorrow is our 75th anniversary show. I'd love to hear your ideas on what we should be looking. It's not anniversary. I need to come up with a word. 75th day show? What is that like? I don't know. Help me. 75th show. We just celebrated our 50th show, but that was 25 days ago. It's hard to imagine. Before we get to Patrice and our positivity, we want to tell you about some of the things we're doing and also give a big shout out to our sponsors who make all of this possible. First, a shout out to Muckrack Academy and their new project with me, Fundamentals of Social Media, a free certification course. That's right, free course for anyone in the world to take right now. You sign up and the course starts on June 8th, but sign up today. Free certification course for all ages, all levels of experience, any profession. mrac.co/social, mrac.co/social. Please go and sign up. 3,000 people have signed up since we announced this last Sunday. So that means we still have room because it's the internet and we have space. Please tag a friend. Please tell them. We're going to show it to you one more time so that you can take a screenshot and you can tell your friends about this particular show. It's a great way and a great course. They will get something useful. They'll get a certification. And my friend Linda Bernstein and I are working very hard, along with our friends at Muckrack Academy, Greg Gallant, Mike Schneider, to put this together. Free certification starts in June. mrac.co/social. take a screenshot or take a photo with your phone right now and make sure you sign up. And young people in your life, old people in your life, everybody can join. One of my friends said that they got their dad to sign up because he was asking too many questions about socials. So she said, sign up for this. And 3,000 people have signed up. We're so grateful to all of them. Many of them are watching now, and you're welcome to be part of this family as we do this. All right. We also want to thank our other sponsor, new sponsor that has come on board. We're very, very grateful. Our sponsor is Priyamvada Sustainability Consulting and cleanfutures.com. And let me read you what they say. Founded by Sonali Chitre in 2012, PSC's mission is to facilitate sustainable development and grow the green economy. Priyamvada Sustainability Consulting believes that deploying clean technologies provides a viable solution to solving the climate change crisis and creating sustainable development. Green technologies reduce greenhouse gas emissions, increase energy efficiency and use of renewable energy sources, provide sustainable infrastructure and transportation solutions, promote better waste management and recycling, increase building efficiency, reduce pollution, improve public health, and of course, create green jobs. So let PSC become the Chief Sustainability Officer of your company. Contact them today at clean-futures.com, clean-futures.com. We're very grateful to have a new sponsor, and thank you to Sonali for making that sponsorship. If you'd like to sponsor us, maybe you have a book launch, maybe you want to do a shout out to a graduate in your family, maybe you want to do a wedding proposal. All of that you can do right here on the show. We have very inexpensive rates that are affordable for you and pay the bills for us. And we're very grateful if you will take a look and maybe become a sponsor. Take a look. It's very easy to do. Just email me, sree@sree.net, sree@sree.net. Again, take a screenshot or take a photo, and then you'll be ready to go. All right. Are you ready for some positivity? I know I am. I've got my positive shirt on, and I'm ready to talk to Patrice Tanaka, who is Chief Joy Officer at joyfulplanet.com. So here we go. I welcome, with no further ado, Patrice Tanaka. Hi, Patrice.
Hey, Sree. Hey, everyone. Aloha.
Aloha, because you're connected to Hawaii.
That's right.
And
Hawaii is my home, but I live in New York City right now, but I still try to share the aloha spirit wherever I am, including on 42nd Street and the Hudson River.
And that's where you are right now, and we're so grateful for you for being with us. And you have a little piece of Hawaii. Look around you. That looks like you're in Hawaii right now, from the color of your scarf to the painting to the flowers. Talk about all of that. What are we looking at?
I like to surround myself with the beauty of Hawaii. It makes me feel my Hawaiian roots, and it grounds me. And I just always love having colors that I love, sounds that I love, pictures that I love. You know, it just makes me feel great. And flowers. These are not real flowers. I have faux flowers in my apartment, which means they're always alive and vibrant. Nothing's ever dying. The way I like my flowers.
Yes, I hear you. I think that's great. And you can travel then without worrying about your plants, right?
Correct. Yes.
All right. Well, let's do what I always call the first part of our show, where we do a global tour, where we're going to look at the comments as people tell us where they're watching from on a Sunday night or Monday morning, wherever they are in the world. So let's take a look. Let's go and see. Anand says already, he said, I'll be watching. Carla, who's watching from Florida, says, I already love her job title. And that was from yesterday. And Gurmeet posted this morning, good vibes. Anand's watching from Andhra Pradesh in India. I know you went to India last year.
Yes, I did. I loved it. I've got to go back.
Yes, you do. Ashok is watching from Kerala in India, where my parents live. Jonathan's watching from Union Square. Of course, you know Union Square very well, right here in New York. And by the way, Jonathan has been on my show and watched my show for 74 straight days in New York, and he's got his mask on. And and look, Sonali is here. She's watching from Bethesda, Maryland. We're very grateful to Sonali for supporting our show. She was an advertiser, as you heard. And like you, she's in the consulting business. You have a different topic. She has another topic. And it's great to just make that connection. And Ashok says, in Kerala, it's cool but sultry morning. How would you describe today? It was a glorious day, wasn't it?
Yes, loved it. Not too bad for a Memorial Day weekend that I thought was going to be rained out.
But it wasn't. And here's Roberta Oster, one of my dear friends. We worked together for 25 plus years. Hello from Richmond, Virginia. Glad to see you again. Thank you, Sree. Thank you, Roberta, for all you do. She works at the Virginia Interfaith Center, and they are doing such important public policy work under the framework of interfaith.
Lovely.
And Sonali says, wow, what a lockdown, 74 days. Steve Taylor is watching. Steve is one of the people on my amazing team. What we do, Patrice, is we work with folks to build their virtual events. And so we're just going to show people the range of things that we do. We're very proud that Steve is one of our folks. And what we do is we help people understand what are the options out there in terms of work that we can do. You have an in-person event, we'll turn it virtual. We'll make your own live web show like this. We will help you, whether we can be 10% of your production team or 110% of your production team. Don't cancel that conference and don't postpone it till you talk to us. And that's our motto. We will help you. Talk to us. Our company is called Digimentors. My email address is right on the screen, sree@sree.net. Just message me and we will help you. We're working, by the way, on a teacher event for 50,000 teachers coming up on Saturday. We did a 3-day conference for Princeton. We're doing small events, big events. Nothing's too small or too big. And we're so grateful to everyone who's supporting us at this time. All right, let's see who else is here. Faye Shapiro says, I'll be thrilled to be tuning in from New York City. Thanks for all you're doing. Is Faye a friend of yours?
Yes, she is. She's wonderful.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you, Faye. Very nice to meet you. Any friend of Patricia's is a friend of mine.
And she's a good friend of Renee Edelman's, too.
Nice. Renee brought us together. That's that Renee connection. I hope Renee is watching. Stefan's watching. Hello, fellow Sree COVID-19 positivity family, sending good vibes to all. And Stefan is a photographer and social media expert. He was at the New York Times for 20 years as a photo editor, and he's reinvented himself, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about. And he's got a great new show. He's got a special episode that we'll talk about later on in the show. And I love when people reinvent themselves, as you have, Patrice. We will get to that in just a few minutes. Sonali is tagging her friends. Everybody should do this. Everyone tag your friends and share this with them. James is watching on LinkedIn. This is new, by the way, Patrice, that LinkedIn, I was always on LinkedIn, but I couldn't get the comments over here easily. And now I can. And James, you're one of the first to do that. We love seeing that. Kanika Manga is watching. Dr. Kanika Manga was on my show earlier this week. She's the first guest I've ever had who's been on 3 of my shows in a single week because she's a doctor. We need doctors to share good information, don't we, Patrice?
Yes, thank God.
Yeah. And Sonali says, this is a lifeline. Fernando's watching from LA. Fernando, hello. By the way, I meant to ask you these with some of the other cities, but if you have any memories you want to share, Patrice, or food or anything you like about any of these towns, just jump in.
All right, I will.
Okay. And let's see here. Ranjit says I should call it day-anniversary, my 74th day anniversary, which is good. And there's Renee. Hi, Renee. That's great.
Hi,
Iceland is in the house. Have you been to Iceland?
Oh, not yet. I want to go. Well, actually, I have done a stopover in Reykjavik, but I need to go back.
But by the way, have you noticed in the last 3-4 years, Iceland became really hot as a tourist destination?
Yes, everybody wants to go there.
Yeah, so many of my friends just went last summer. And Ashok says, employment issues in the post-COVID times, 75th day special. Absolutely, we need to talk about that. We'll talk about it with Patrice in just a couple of minutes. Wow, Chief Joy Officer. Now that's the job title of a lifetime. And people are tagging their friends. Everybody tag your friends. Jeevan asked a good question. What is PR? That's why you should never presume that people know all your jargon, right, Patrice? When you talk and communicate, you should be clear. So public relations, absolutely. I should have made it clear, but it's open to everyone. Our guest from our Mother's Day show is here. Pradnya Haldipur from Silver
Ah.
Spring, Maryland. She's a positive, uplifting person, and she's watching us tonight. That's great. And Anand says, good morning, madam, to you. In India, they say that, right? They say, madam.
Good morning.
Where did you go last year in India?
Oh gosh, we went to Mumbai, then Goa, then Delhi, Jaipur, Udaipur. I know I'm missing something. Agra, of course. We had to see the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, you're so lucky you went this year, last year, because it would have been impossible to go this year, and that would certainly have been not fun at all. So many people watching from so many places. I just want to get through these, otherwise we won't be able to go back. Jeevan says good morning from India. Paula's watching from Tallahassee, Florida. She is part of our amazing team at the New York Times Read Along. This morning we had a great show with Corey Dean, who is an author and the former science editor of the New York Times. And she was fabulous this morning. And Paula did a great job, as always, in producing that show with our team of Neil Parekh and Steve and Paula, Julia, and Carla Baranakis. We had a great time. And by the way, this is her book, Making Sense of Science, Separating Substance from Spin. Everybody needs to read this book. Everybody needs to get this book. Science editor of the New York Times. She was on our show, Cornelia Dean. She was fantastic. And that's one of the great things about this family of being online all the time, doing these different kinds of stories. We're all learning together. And Christopher's watching from Orlando, Florida.
Oh, Christopher, yes.
You know Christopher, that's great.
Yes.
Faye is watching and says, Patrice is an inspiration for joy, purpose, and love. So you need to be called Chief Joy, Purpose, and Love Officer. It's a little unwieldy, but it's great. And Roberta says hello again from Richmond, Virginia. Thakur is watching from Himachal. Doug Levy is here. Hello from the zen-like shadows of Mount Tam, just north of San Francisco. I don't know Mount Tam. Have you been?
No.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. So Doug is an amazing science communicator who already has a book out on communicating during coronavirus. So check out DougLevy.com. And every day he has a free email that lists the 3 most important stories around COVID-19. Everybody should sign up.
Oh, that's great.
At SF Doug. Everyone should sign up for sure. My dad's watching from Kerala. Hi, Acha.
Oh, hi, Dad.
Go ahead, Patrice. Say hi.
No, hello, Sree's father. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm so sad not to be with him. I've already probably missed 2 trips already this year that I would have spent time with him and my mom watching in India. Roberta says, visit VirginiaInterfaithCenter.org. Everybody should do that. Arjun's watching from Montreal. We love that.
Okay.
And Laurie White is watching from Rhode Island. Love your program, Sree, and your excellent team. Thank you so much. Laurie's from Providence. Have you been to Rhode Island?
Yes, I have. It's been a while, but yes, lovely.
Great. And of course, there's that islands all have connections, right? There is something about that. We are here in Manhattan Island, Rhode Island, Hawaii. Which part of Hawaii are you from?
Oahu, the main island.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
But I am an island girl, so I just live on Manhattan. It's a smaller island, no palm trees, but an island.
That's right. Priya says there is social stigma about coronavirus in people all around the world. That's certainly something that we can talk about. And Rick asked, what online platform are you using? For our virtual conferences, we use a variety of things. We've done things on Zoom. We've done things on StreamYard. We've done things on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. All that you see we're doing today, we can do it inside a conference setting as well. Janet's watching from Minnesota. Hello. Susanna is watching from Mexico. And Renee is watching, of course. And I'm watching from the Upper West Side, she says. And Cherian, one of the great all-time names, is watching from Trivandrum in Kerala. And look at all these people tagging their friends. It's just amazing to see this. And Delhi sends a lot of greetings and loving regards, says Pankaj. So there's just so much. Yeah. And Roberta's asking, what is the email for Doug? So it's Doug at DougLevy.com. He'll correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll read it out. But just go to DougLevy.com and you can sign up for it. Hello, Kerala, and Vandana Menon is with us. She's one of our awesome producers. Okay, so let's talk about positivity by first understanding your story, because people need to understand who you are before they can buy into your wonderful positivity. So tell us a little bit of the backstory, and then what is Joyful Planet, And how did you become and come up with this title of Chief Joy Officer?
All right. Well, at one time in my life, I wasn't that joyful. And in fact, I went to see an executive coach for help because I was just totally depressed, burnt out, and unexcited and uninspired by my own life. I went to see an executive coach for help. And she said that she could help me. But at first, I needed to rethink my purpose in life. Now, I was annoyed when I heard that because I just got finished telling her I could barely get out of bed. I certainly didn't have the energy to rethink my purpose in life. But she was pretty adamant. Unless I could tell her what my purpose was, she couldn't help me live that purpose. And in doing so, feel better. And you have to know this was 5 months after 9/11. So like most New Yorkers, we were still reeling from the, the trauma of that day. And compounding that, I was exhausted from building my first PR agency with 12 partners who I led in a management buyback from Chiat Day Advertising, a big hot creative ad agency. And we had an employee-owned agency that did very well because our purpose as an agency, our business purpose as an agency, was to create great work, a great workplace, and great communities that work. And by that, we meant healthy, sustainable communities within and beyond our workplace. And just the simple articulation of our purpose, what we were committed to doing as an agency, resulted in us attracting a lot of great clients, blue chip clients, great clients like Microsoft and Dyson and Godiva and Target and Charles Schwab and American Express. I mean, a lot of wonderful clients. We won hundreds of awards. And within 8 years of starting up our agency, we were named the #1 most creative PR agency in the country and the #2 best place to work among all PR agencies. And, but as you can imagine, that took a toll because it was a lot of work that we were happy to do, but a lot of work nonetheless. Anyway, I'm in the executive coach's office and I am exhausted from building my first agency, also exhausted from caring for a husband who had been battling a brain tumor for 16 years by that point, and also exhausted from all of the commitments I had to professional and civic organizations. Everywhere I turned, I had a deadline for someone that needed to be done, and I was just out of gas. I went to see the coach hoping that she could get me, to feel the energy that I once had. And she said that the only way she could help me was if I could tell her what my purpose in life was. So because I couldn't get out of this request, I thought about what my purpose could be. And 2 weeks later, I came back to the coach and said to her, I've considered and rejected many possible life purpose statements. And the only one that really doesn't sound like BS to me is this. And my purpose was informed by the nearly 3,000 people who died on 9/11. They went to work that morning and didn't return home that evening. And I knew those people were caught short, probably not having done what was most important to them. And I didn't want to be caught short like they were. So I said to my coach, my purpose in life is simply to choose joy in my life every day, to be mindful of that joy and to share that joy with others. It was a simple 3-part purpose: choose joy, be mindful of it, and share it with others. And I told my coach that if I could live my life this way every single day, I think I could be good to go, even if I were caught short like those people on 9/11. And as soon as I shared that life purpose with the coach, I'm going to cut to the chase, but this is what happened over the next years. I took up ballroom dancing at age 50, something I had wanted to do since I was 8 years old, but had never done anything, never took a lesson between 8 years old and 50 years old. When I went to see the coach, I started taking ballroom dance lessons because my dream as a young girl was to dance like Ginger Rogers. So I got hooked. I took more lessons. I actually started competing in ballroom competitions. And then after a few years, I started winning some championships. And then one day I realized, wait a second, what am I doing to share my joy with others? I know I'm experiencing a lot of joy, but what am I doing to share it? So I decided, I know what, I'll write a book to share the lessons I learned from ballroom dancing. So I wrote a book called Becoming Ginger Rogers, How Ballroom Dancing Made Me a Happier Woman, a Better Partner, and a Smarter CEO. And it really did all those things. And in fact, the lessons I learned from ballroom dancing, like close partnering with others, helped me to close partner with other people and co-found 2 successively larger mid-sized national PR agencies. And the last one was Padilla, and it was one of the top 10 largest PR agencies in the country with 240 employee owners. After my earnout, I decided to start a consultancy. I wasn't quite sure focused on what until I...
Can we just pause for 1 second? Because we're going through so much in your fabulous life. I just want to make sure we get to focus on this. Look at this: Becoming Ginger Rogers, How Ballroom Dancing Made Me a Happier Woman, Better Partner, and Smarter CEO. And Patrice Tanaka's inspiring memoir is a joy to read. Nina DeSesa, chairman of McCann, New York, and author of Seducing the Boys Club. And this is your cover, very striking cover, and Becoming Ginger Rogers. And you're doing that later in life than most of us would have done, right?
Yeah. And that's all because I discovered and started actively living my purpose. Living my purpose, got me into ballroom dancing, something that I wanted to do since I was 8 years old. And the lessons that I learned from ballroom dancing really opened up my life and helped me to grow my business. And after my PR and marketing career, I decided to start a consultancy called Joyful Planet. And you can see the direct line trajectory from choosing joy to starting Joyful Planet 13 years later. And my consultancy, Joyful Planet, is focused on helping individuals and organizations discover and actively live or operationalize their purpose so they can unleash greater success, fulfillment, and joy in their personal lives, in their workplaces, and in their communities. And the following year, I co-authored a best-selling book with Brian Tracy, who is a very well-known management consultant. And my chapter is entitled Live Your Life's Purpose and Unleash Your Joy. And then 2 years later, I co-authored another best-selling book with a lot of leaders like Sir Richard Branson. And the focus of my chapter was Purpose, a Competitive Advantage in Business and Life, because that is what discovering and actively living your purpose is. It's a competitive advantage because it will focus and drive you to accomplish what matters most. So I think the most important thing that discovering and living my life purpose did was to create so much more energy and joy in my life that I could share with others, including the 3 nonprofits that are near and dear to my heart, including Dancing Classrooms, which actually uses the vehicle of ballroom dance to unleash social, emotional, and cognitive learning in children. So it's a very powerful program that has transformed the lives of many children. More than 600,000 children globally have gone through our 10-week-long in-school program. So I attribute discovering and living my life purpose to doing all of these things, including being here tonight on Sree's Positivity Show. And I mentioned to you when I first went to see my coach in 2002, I was so depressed I could not get out of bed. So I think this speaks to the power of purpose, whether it's a life purpose or an organizational purpose. It will focus and drive you to accomplish what you say matters most. And for me, it was about choosing joy because I wasn't making joyful choices at that time. And being mindful of the joy that I had, because sometimes we have a lot of joy in our life, but if we're not mindful of it, it's as if we didn't have it. And then sharing my joy with others, because that's how you can actually create more joy, by sharing it with others. It's amazing how that works, but that is the way that joy works.
All right, let's read a little more of some of the comments coming in. Opali says, "Hi, Sree. What a name, Opali Oparajita. What a great name."
Yeah, wow.
Vandana is quoting you, "To choose joy every day, be mindful of it, and share it with others." What a purposeful and powerful purpose. Ashok says, "Looking forward to seeing all the videos on Joyful Planet." We're going to watch one of those videos right now. Vandana has linked to your book. And look at this. Janet says, "Choose joy." And I love this, that Sonali, who we talked about earlier, she does ballroom dancing too. So it's
so
like
she gets a lot of joy in her life too.
Yeah, yes. It's great. And then look at Robert Anthony, who's been a guest on our show multiple times. He says, "Your journey from believing in yourself to sharing joy is amazing and inspiring." And Robert is an amazing gentleman himself. He's at New York Bob, all spelled out on Twitter and everywhere else. So do connect with him. And Opali is listening in real time. She says, "Mercy, merci," she says, and that is just really cool. And Stefan says, "Patrice, I worked with AARP's Life Reimagined for 5 years and learned so much about purpose and passion. And now you are #1 in my life," he says, which is really cool. So let's watch one of your videos. That'll also give you a chance to catch your breath. It's about 48 seconds long, so I will play that right now. So folks, you've tuned in right now to a wonderful conversation that we're having with Patrice Tanaka, Chief Joy Officer at her organization, Joyful Planet. So here we go. Stand by, everybody, and we're going to watch this right now.
Fewer than 20% of leaders actually know their purpose, and even fewer can actually distill their purpose into a concrete statement. And this is from an article called "From Purpose to Impact" in the Harvard Business Review. The authors of that article go on to say that the process of articulating our purpose and having the courage to live it, and they call this "From Purpose to Impact," is the single most important developmental task we can undertake as leaders, for ourselves in our own lives, as well as for our organizations.
So tell us about that. What does that mean exactly, and what can we do? And where was that, by the way? Really nice setting. That seems like a lifetime ago when we were in ballroom talking to people.
That was the Public Relations Society of America's Counselors Academy. This is attended by a small PR agency owners. So I think there are about 300 or 400 of them that attend this conference every year. And of course, they had to postpone this year's conference because it's usually in the spring. That one was in Seattle. I think it was about 3 years ago. And great organization. But yes, I mean, it's fewer than 20% of leaders know their purpose. And the authors of that article in the Harvard Business Review actually say that it's discovering and having the courage to live your purpose is the single most important developmental task you can undertake as a leader. And it makes sense that if you as a leader know what your purpose is, and your purpose drives you in the way that you live your life and you lead others and you run your organizations, that is a good thing, because a life purpose is about how we leverage our talents, our expertise, and our passion in service of other people and our planet. So a life purpose, key element of a life purpose is how we leverage our talents, our expertise, and our passion in service of other people. If it's just a statement that doesn't communicate how you serve others, then it's just a statement of your goals and dreams, which is valuable too. But I think a life purpose is what will ultimately make us feel our most fulfilled and joyful, because when we're serving others, when we're of service, is when I think we feel, our greatest value.
Absolutely. Dr. Kanekamanga, who's watching, says, reminds me of Ikigai, the Japanese concept. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you connect it with that?
I'm not sure that I necessarily connect it with that, but of course I'm informed by everything in my culture and in my environment. I actually was born and raised in Hawaii, where we have a similar concept. Of course, the word.
Here, I'm pulling this up so that you can see it. This is how Wikipedia defines it and looks at all of these different things. So yours is different, but somewhere
in
along
Hawaii,
the way.
we have the same concept as Ikigai. So there's a word in Hawaiian that I'm struggling to recall, as well as a word in English, purpose. And it is all those things, how you leverage your talent, your expertise, and your passion in service of other people and our planet. I think it's all very similar from culture to culture. I think that is universal about the human condition, that we are all connected to one another, and that by serving others, we're in fact serving ourselves. So our responsibility is not just to help ourselves to succeed, but to help others to succeed. Because if we're all one, then it doesn't matter where do you start and I stop, right? I mean, I subscribe to that idea of, if we could all leverage our gifts in service of other people, that's how we get to a joyful planet. So Joyful Planet is the name of my consultancy, but it's also my vision for our planet. If more of our 7.7 billion people were living their life purpose and leveraging their talents and their expertise and their passion in service of other people and our planet, I think together we could create a much more joyful planet. And I always hold that image in my mind. And I love saying the name of my consultancy because it does recommit myself to that vision that I hold so dear.
Absolutely. Folks, we only have about 20 minutes left with Patrice, and we have so many comments and so many questions we have to get through. Please tell us where you're watching from. Please ask her questions. I'm learning so much. I know you are as well. E.B. Moss says, love this, thank you. And Nitin says, it's the philosophy of Nienji in Tibetan Buddhism. And so a lot of cultures have this. And Nitin, by the way, is watching from Dharamshala, which is the home of the Dalai Lama. And what a wonderful place to be watching from, and a place of great resolve and purpose. Not always joy, considering that they're living in exile, but they have shown, as the Dalai Lama has, that you can find your own way and find the goodness in everybody, even under great pain. And that's really important.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you for bringing that up, because a lot of people think, well, you're the chief joy officer, so you must be happy every minute of every day. Well, of course, that is not the case. I have many moments of unjoy, but the reason that I chose my purpose to choose joy in my life every day, to be mindful of that joy and to share that joy with others, is to keep me on the path that I want to travel, because I know choosing joy, creates more joy in my life. And not everything that I choose as a joyful choice is going to bring me joy every step of the way. But the end result of that choice is going to bring a lot of people joy, including myself. So it's not that I'm joyful every moment of the day, but I do make joyful choices so that most of my waking moments, I'm actually in a state of joy, or, working on joy, or trying to produce something that will bring me joy and other people as well. And in fact, living my life purpose is what has kept me sane and centered during this time of COVID-19. And I actually, because there's a lot of joy to be had in any time. And frankly, if your focus, as mine has been, to just focus on living my purpose, then every day is about a joyful choice. And I've probably been busier now during COVID-19 than pre-COVID, doing a lot of things that have been bringing me joy, but it's still a lot of work. Actually, created the series, a Zoom event series called Joy in a Time of Coronavirus, because there is a lot of joy to be had even in this time, in which I featured healers and artists, people who could bring us a little bit of comfort and joy during this time. And every 2 weeks, I had an event on Zoom and just invited anyone who wanted to come. I'm also involved in two major initiatives concerning diversity, equity, and inclusion, an area that I'm very focused on right now. So been very busy doing that, and happily so. And the three nonprofits that I'm involved with are all experiencing a lot of negative impact because of COVID. And what I've been working with the other trustees on doing is seeing the opportunity in COVID, because we still have to deliver against our mission. And how can we do it in a way that makes us even stronger, and allows us to deliver our mission even more fully and to more people during COVID and beyond COVID-19. So there's been a lot of great work, of course, in addition to the work that I'm doing through Joyful Planet. But I mean, there's a lot of work, but it's all choices of joy for me. So
excellent. Dara is listening and says agreed, which is great to hear that kind of ditto. People are commenting. There's so many comments. Sarah says, good morning. Live just for today is Sarah's advice. And we had a question earlier from Rick talking about, what about joyful, purposeful politics? Resurrect the American dream of equity to give all people fair opportunities to reach their highest level of potential. Vote in true patriots and vote out fake patriots. And he links to a blog he wrote. So everybody should look at that. And we have so many comments coming in. Here, I want to take you to a dentist in a village who has a question for you. Sirsha Mitra says, ma'am, please make clear a confusion of mine. When I deal with my patients in the village hospital, they don't often follow my advice. And after being ill again, they come in and say that I'm not a good dentist. I feel very irritated. What to do? Oh my God, you must have clients like this who don't listen to you, choose the wrong decision, and then they blame the counselor, right? Maybe that doesn't happen to you. It happens to the rest of us.
Well, I think the dentist has to kind of determine what his purpose is and just focus on living his purpose. If he's convinced or she's convinced that this is the most important thing that they should accomplish during their one very brief and precious life, if this is it, then it doesn't really matter what other people say to you, because you're doing what it is that you want to do and that brings you joy. So please don't listen to other people who are going to try to bring you down. All you can do is point out, ma'am, if you had done what I said, you would not be in this much pain today. It is not your responsibility to assume her pain because she's not a good patient,
All right. Nikhil, who's watching, says, I think people who are down in their lives are often that way because they're not in service to others. It seemed like a very easy fix, but getting those people to understand your message and the value of perhaps doing volunteer work seems so difficult. I wonder why. And Nikhil's a wonderful writer and journalist.
I think that's so true. And in fact, someone posted something the other day saying that, oh God, what is her name? Aung San Suu Kyi.
Suchi.
Yes, the controversial Nobel laureate who was under house arrest in Burma for 20 years. Someone asked her, how did you get through this? She said, when you're feeling helpless, help someone. And that was brilliant advice, right? Because we do feel better when we help others instead of just focusing on our own helplessness. By helping others, you're not being helpless, you're actually being helpful and not a victim.
I would just say, of course, as you pointed out, she's now very controversial. She was sainted, and then no one has fallen this far, this fast, in part because of her support of the dictatorial regime that under her watch and her guidance or oversight, whatever you could say, has slaughtered the Rohingya. It's very tragic, but that doesn't mean that what she said isn't true for her meaning in her life in the old days. Janet says hi to Al Tompkins, and here Janet has a question. She says, how do you know when you have found your life purpose? This is a great time for people to reset their lives, careers, and more. P.S. I met you in Boston a few years ago at a PRSA event.
Yes. Well, I actually developed a questionnaire, an 11-question questionnaire that if people answer these questions as fully as they can, it gives them enough information, and I guide you into writing the first iteration of your life purpose statement, because it's not an easy thing to just sit down and come up with your life purpose. Now, I was able to do that only because this is the exercise that, I went through for most of our clients. It was all about finding the essence of a client's brand and then teasing it out and building a platform to differentiate that client from all of their competition and every other company, and then creating campaigns year over year that built that platform based on that intrinsic truth about that brand. So what I'm doing today is actually just turning that and focusing it on the individual in order to help them determine what their essential truth is, what is most important to them, what matters most to them, and how they serve others. I mean, that's what your life purpose is. So, and I guess I'll offer this. Anyone who would like to have that instrument that I've created, it's in its 16th iteration because I keep fine-tuning it. Just email me, patrice@joyfulplanet.com, and I will send you the 11-question questionnaire. You should be able to write the first iteration of your life purpose and have some insight into what your purpose is.
Oh, wow. That is so generous of you. Thank you so much. Folks, what she has just offered you is something very rarely people who run consultancies offer, because that is their bread and butter, but she's being so generous and kind to us. So please write to patrice@joyfulplanet.com. Everybody do this right now, and you'll get the questionnaire, and then you can take the questionnaire. Nothing else beyond that. Of course, this is her business, so you have to respect that. Don't ask her for free advice. Everybody should get paid for the work that they do, but she's very kindly offered this. And maybe you'll look at that, and maybe you'll decide that you want to work with her and talk to her about working with her. But for now, just request the free questionnaire that she has put together. Thank you so much, Patrice. That's very, very generous of you.
My pleasure. And this is the way I'm going to get to more of our 7.7 billion people discovering and actively living their purpose. I'm serious. It only takes a certain number of, hundreds of thousands of people to reach a critical mass that the entire planet is moving in a different direction. And that's all I'm trying to do. So yes, please reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you figure out what your life purpose is.
Thank you. So patrice@joyfulplanet.com. Stefan says, Sunday evening positivity is the only way to get set for another week in quarantine. No, do not watch the news afterwards and ruin this vibe. Dara says, I feel busier now than ever before the lockdown. I found a temporary purpose and that it keeps me positive and busy. What do you think about that? That I want to go back to my old life, but I found a temporary purpose like I did in this show, right? This show has saved me.
Yeah.
Patrice, there's no other way to explain that I love my family, but I would have been talking to them for 74 days. Instead, every day I have a global conversation. It has saved me.
Yeah. And Sree, I don't think it's your temporary purpose. I think that you just haven't gone to the effort yet, and maybe let's do this, let me help you do this, of actually articulating your life purpose, finalizing your life purpose, because I bet you will see that this show is you living your life purpose. What you haven't done is articulate in 25 to 35 words a succinct statement of your life purpose. And you know how powerful words are, right? I believe if you have your a finalized life purpose and you recite it to yourself every day like a mantra, like an affirmation, it will focus and drive you to accomplish what you say matters most in your life. And having that kind of a North Star is the most important thing that you can do for yourself in terms of providing you with a competitive advantage to accomplish what matters most to you in the time that you have.
Thank you. That's very, very kind. I will work on it. And thanks to folks like Vandana Menon, who's helping me as our producer. She says, do you have any advice on how you can keep choosing joy? Because sometimes it is hard to get out of bed. Sometimes it's hard to just deal with the 100,000 dead people that are on the front page of the New York Times today, as an example.
Yeah, well, I limit my intake of the news media. I'll read the New York Times in the morning. I won't listen to the 24/7 COVID-19 news channel relentlessly, because a steady diet of that is not good, because then you have no time or energy to really be productive and creative. So I think that, it's like what makes you laugh, or what makes you like someone, or what attracts you to someone and what doesn't attract you to someone. I think that we know what a joyful choice is, right? So if you're feeling that this choice is not bringing you joy, what else could you choose if that is not feeling like a joyful choice? Or how can you turn that into a more joyful choice for you? If you're thinking of dark thoughts or thinking about what could go wrong, can you stop yourself and think about what could go right if you did this? I mean, there's so many ways that you could kind of catch yourself and not go down a dark alley if you know that it's going to be a dark alley. And just the more you do this, the more you catch yourself and say, nope, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. Or nope, you are not treating me in the way that I expect to be treated. I cannot talk to you until you change your tone. It's remarkable how people will shift with whatever direction and whatever boundaries you set.
That's
right?
that's amazing. That's how it is. EB Moss is writing, and EB says, let's see, there's so many comments here. I'm finding it really hard to keep up. It's a good problem to have. I'm a swing dancer. I'm sad at missing out on that, but there are online line dance classes that don't require a partner. What have you found to substitute dance joy with?
Well, actually, I was involved in competitive ballroom dancing for 10 years, spending hours of time and a lot of money to indulge in that sport. But actually now I'm spending probably almost that time supporting dancing classrooms, which, is a transformative program for young children that uses the vehicle of ballroom dance to do that. Because as a 4th or 5th grader, experiencing ballroom dance is a life-changing a life transforming experience for them.
Sorry, that's the Dancing Ballrooms class website. Here it is.
Dancing class. Yes, there it is. Dancing class.
When a human being dances with another human being, you get to know that person in a way that you cannot describe.
Yes.
You get to feel their reaction to your touch, and your impression of them is altered. You could be dancing with someone from another nationality, another ethnic group, another socioeconomic status or race. But when you touch that someone and look them in the eye, they now become a unique individual and not a label.
All right, tell us what we're looking at and your organization.
Yes, and this is Dancing Classrooms, and that's our former executive director, fabulous guy, Rodney Lopez. It's these children are transformed after 10 weeks in our program. They learn how to treat each other like young ladies and gentlemen. They know how to ask a girl to dance in proper escort position. They can lead them to the floor and dance a proper waltz or foxtrot. It kind of levels the playing field for young boy, say from an underserved school who is perfectly comfortable and confident to ask a young girl who goes to a private school, may I have this dance? Right now, obviously, because of COVID-19, we cannot deliver this program as we traditionally have live with children dancing. So we are actually creating a virtual program to teach children to dance virtually, because the interesting thing is learning how to dance independently and dancing on your own without being danced or led by anyone else requires even more skills and requires even more knowledge and confidence. So if we can get every child to be dancing on their own independently and comfortably, when they come together with a real partner, the partnership is even stronger because both individuals are much stronger because each of them can dance independent of the other. So it's provided us with a whole other opportunity. I almost see this as Dancing Classrooms 2.0. It's not the original program, but we're all having to pivot in this time of COVID-19. And that's why I say that there is an opportunity for all of us to help make our program, Dancing Classrooms, even stronger. And because it's virtual, we can scale up and teach many more children than we were able to do when we had to do it one-on-one with live teaching artists and students. So there's a lot of opportunity to serve a lot more children and to offer them these life lessons the soft skills that I think a lot of companies are discovering today are really what spells the difference between success and failure. Children, adults' ability to, partner and collaborate with others and to be sensitive to others. That's more important than technical skills almost, because if you cannot work with other people, it doesn't matter how talented and how technically proficient you are, you're not going to be as successful, right?
You're right. It's already 10 o'clock. Do you have a few more minutes you can spend with us?
Sure.
All right. Thank you. You're so kind. I'm just going to read through these comments very quickly. Rick is saying check out imperative.com.
Yes.
Stefan is talking about just creating, bring daily joy. My latest creation is Spin It Social Hour, with which he's helping photographers tell their story. And this is the program that he's running now. And let me just take off this banner here. This is a show that he has now on Tuesday, May 26th at noon. Spin It Social, Stefan Spin It Social, Twitter at Spin It Social. He's going to interview Paula Bronstein, an award-winning photojournalist at PBB Photo. And check it out Tuesday at noon. all over the internet on Eastern time. And Stefan Kaplan is at Spin It Social, so you can check him out. So thanks, Stefan, for doing that, for bringing joy to people by talking about photography. People love photography and everything that's going on with that. So that's great. My mom is watching from Kerala. Hi, Amma. Miss you. Love you.
The whole family is involved. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, my wife and kids, who I love very much, kicked me out of my apartment. This is not our apartment. This is our friend Rajni's apartment. She lives in our building. She and her family left the city. So we are now here because they said I'm live streaming too much, too long, too loud, and said you get out or there'll be trouble. So that's why I'm here. So my family's contribution was kicking me out, and that has helped a lot. Janet says, you're a great example, Stefan, of how to spin a career during crisis. And Stefan says, Sree's mom rocking the emojis. And Upali says, absolutely. And Martin Englisher is watching. Martin, we got to get you on the show. Expressing gratitude brings us joy. This is a good time to remind that people find ways to express gratitude, and they will feel a degree of happiness. Do you agree?
I totally agree. And that's one of the easiest ways to do this. Every single day, I will recount all the things that I'm grateful for. And just the exercise of doing that, because you can easily get up to 25, 30 things, right? And it just, again, it's part of being mindful of your joy. You have to remember what it is that happened to you and be grateful for it. And that's what I mean by being mindful of joy. So, Martin, keep doing that. That is great.
Thank you. And Martin, let me know when we can. Just email me, Sree@Sree.net. We are always looking, by the way, to everyone, not just Martin. I'd say we're looking for guests. We're looking for topics. We're looking for ideas. We're looking for sponsors. But if you would like to self-nominate, we're happy to hear your ideas. We have lots of people stepping up now. We're so grateful. And this is the thing that I think I learned from Patrice, the importance of being grateful for what you have. When Vandana and Rose and I started doing this, we had no audience, no sponsors, nothing. We just did it. And eventually it built the purpose, and look where it has led us. We're so humbled by this in every single way. Susanna's tagging people. Paul wants to know, is this Patrice live? And so you can prove that.
Yes, it is.
All right, our dentist
too.
Our dentist has another question. Do you think maintaining religious rituals can bring joy? And she says, happy Eid and greetings of Eid to everybody. Yes, absolutely. Eid Mubarak, as they say.
Yes, Eid Mubarak. Yes, whatever brings you joy, and it's different for every person. So you should do whatever brings you joy. And if
are you religious yourself?
I'm sorry?
Are you religious yourself?
I'm spiritual. My late husband was a Muslim, and he was very spiritual and religious too.
If it's not too difficult to talk about, can you share anything about 16 years of dealing with health issues? That's very difficult on the person and also the caregiver.
You know, it really... It could have been much more difficult, except that my husband was an extraordinary man. He was an Afghani. I met him here in New York, of course, and he had a brain tumor that, back then when it was first diagnosed, I just thought, well, he'll have surgery and post-operative treatments, and that'll be it. I didn't realize that brain tumors have a nasty habit of regenerating. But the wonderful thing about my husband was he always felt very comfortable with his brain tumor. He never felt sorry for himself. He never felt, woe is me. He actually felt that he was a lucky guy. And he would say, I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I'm married to you. You're taking care of me. I have health insurance, and we have the best medical doctors in New York City. So who am I to question the wisdom of Allah? And that his religion gave him so much peace. He never questioned why why did he have this brain tumor? And because of that, it wasn't a burden for me. The only burden for me was fighting with insurance companies when, to cover certain procedures and alternative treatments when conventional treatments stopped working. So, but he himself was never stressful. In fact, he was inspirational because I'm someone who, if I get a hangnail, I'm going to complain about it. My husband had a brain tumor. I never heard him complain once.
Oh, tell us his name, please.
Asadullah Hakik.
Wow.
Is a
God bless, and
right.
Just thinking of him now, and thank you for sharing his story. I hope it wasn't too painful to do that.
No, not at all. It brings me a lot of joy because he was such a lovely, beautiful person inside and out.
Thank you. That is lovely. Mark Lee's watching from Durham, North Carolina, and Sonali's tagging a whole bunch of people. And Sonali's says that life's purpose, it's very critical. Nothing like good laughter to make you happy, says Mark. Your artwork behind you is giving me great joy right now.
Yes. I love surrounding myself with all things Hawaii and Hawaiian. Yes.
Yeah. I can tell you that my wife and kids and I were blessed to go to Hawaii as we think about, Eid Mubarak today, to go to one of the world's great Islamic art collections is in Hawaii. No one knows that, really.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, at the Shangri-La Museum of Islamic Art, Design, and Culture in Honolulu. And it's the home of Doris Duke. It's her estate.
Oh, right.
Built
Yes.
this. And it's incredible. And we got to go there. I got to spend 10 days working and thinking. It was just a life-changing experience. And Hawaii is a very special place. A lot of people only know the touristy parts of it. And they're having trouble there because they're dependent on tourists and international travel, and they've been shut down. And Hawaii is so special. If you can talk a little bit about your Japanese connections there and your family a little bit, I think people would love that. I was born in Tokyo, so my mom and dad are watching.
I know. I love that. When you said that the other day, I was surprised. I love how global we all are. But yeah, I'm a third generation Japanese American, and I love growing up in Hawaii because we have great diversity. In fact, there's no one ethnic group that, is predominant, which is great. And I was used to growing up in a very diverse state. In fact, when I went to Japan as a 16-year-old, I really did not like it. And it was only after I got physically sick when I was there too. It was only when I returned home that I realized what made me so uncomfortable in Japan was that everyone was Japanese, and it was so homogenous, and it was so unlike what I was used to growing up in Hawaii. So I'm most comfortable with great diversity, which is what Hawaii is all about.
Can I ask you about being third generation Japanese? Yeah. That means the family was there during Pearl Harbor and after, where Japanese Americans, at least in the mainland, were rounded up and all these terrible things happened. How did your family get through that? How did they find the strength at that time?
This is such a terrible thing, but it wasn't until I was in college that I heard that Japanese Americans were incarcerated on the mainland during World War II because the Japanese were so ashamed of this that they never spoke about this. So many of us never learned about it till we were adults. And I was shocked. Why? I can't believe that this was such a well-kept secret. So luckily for people in Hawaii, there were so many Japanese Americans that there was no way they could incarcerate everyone. So no one in Hawaii, no Japanese American, were incarcerated except for some people who I guess were thought of as high risk. But otherwise, most Japanese Americans were not incarcerated. So luckily we were able to live our lives. Well, I wasn't born then, but my parents and their parents were able to live their lives not in concentration camps. So it was a different.
This is the tragedy of America, that we, at times that we are tested, the worst comes out of Americans, the best, but also the worst. And we're seeing that right now. We're being tested.
Yes.
And the bravery of our healthcare workers, bravery of our first responders, bravery of our grocery store clerks, and people who are serving and helping so many people. But also the worst of the American nature is coming out in the way people are attacking their own government. Sometimes the leader of the government is attacking the government. It is just completely unacceptable. But this is why America is in such a bad position with dealing with this virus, because we don't have the ability to not also bring out our worst when we bring out the best.
Yes. And this month is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So there are many events happening to celebrate AAPI history in this country, which extends back over 170 years. So one of the events I'm involved with is happening on Wednesday. It's being hosted by the Museum of Public Relations, and we're going to have 16 people, senior and younger professionals, talking about their experiences of growing up as Asian Americans in this country, and talking about incidences of anti-Asian racism, especially and including right now during COVID-19. That's why a lot of my energies are being directed to what can we do to address diversity, equity, and inclusion. If we can be comfortable with and help to create a more diverse and equitable and inclusive society, then we won't be subject to things like anti-Asian racism during COVID-19. And you know that with everything that happens, there's one or other ethnic group under attack. It doesn't matter if you're attacking Asian Americans or Muslim Americans. An attack is an attack if we're being attacked because of our ethnicity. That is unacceptable. And any attack against any ethnic group is an attack against all ethnic groups and all Americans, because this behavior defines who we are as a nation. And this is not who I think most Americans see Americans to be. So we have the opportunity to stand up and say, this is not who we are as a people.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Thank you for sharing that. We have Fareed Zakaria, the great writer, has posted an article today where he said the 2016 campaign was built on hatred of Mexico and blaming Mexico for all the problems in America. This campaign will now pivot to China. And therefore, Asian Americans, East Asian Americans in particular, are going to get the brunt of it and are going to feel a lot of pain the way Mexican Americans felt pain in 2016. And that is outrageous, but that is the world we have built, all of us together. Janet says, my career, like so many, has been upended from university professor to now volunteer teaching English in Taiwan and help refugees with basic English skills, right, starting with and writing ABCs. It's what I'm doing now, perhaps beyond the pandemic. I can see the joy I bring to the students I'm helping. Thank you, Janet. What a great way to look at it, despite the pain you are feeling yourself. Doug says, setting boundaries is a huge tool for survival in large organizations. And Upali Uparajita says, not going to do this, Patrice. Yes, as well. Not going to think this. That's great. And Mark says, I'm a part of a national online dance party, which is pretty cool. And Mark says, I keep saying I'm going to learn Samba and some of the other dances. And that's your Twitter handle, Samba Girl. How do you pronounce it?
Samba Gal.
Samba Gal.
I love the Samba, or back then it was my favorite dance. The Mambo is probably my favorite dance right now.
Okay. Christopher says, I've enjoyed seeing Patrice's wonderful photographs of sharing, especially cooked meals with her neighbors during social isolation. So we're going to take a look. I don't know what we'll find on her Facebook feed. So here we go. We're going to find some things and we're going to share some things, and some things maybe we shouldn't be sharing, but here you
That's
go.
okay. No,
This is the
everything's
low-key holiday
shared.
on Hudson. Is this the view from your apartment?
Yes, I just
Wow.
love sharing the beauty of the Hudson, and it was a beautiful. There's my dad at 22 standing in Times Square, and this was him like 72 years later or whatever. And my nephew got him to pose at the exact same spot so he could take that picture. And I
Oh
just
my
went,
God, what a great picture, Patrice.
I
What a
know.
great picture. Your dad is so handsome as a
I
young
know.
soldier. Look at that, and looking great.
He was
70
92,
years,
right?
yeah,
in
70
this
years
photo.
later.
Yeah,
God bless. That was amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
This is this
amazing.
is to honor all people who've served our country. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, look at him. He looks amazing in both pictures. He's great. Let's see here. These are some of your.
Oh, that was fun. I helped 100 clients of Dress for Success last May this time. And they were hosted on board a Carnival cruise ship. And so it was 3 days, 2 nights of a lot of leadership development and training and workshops for these amazing women who were clients of Dress for Success and are now, making wonderful things of their lives. I helped each of them discover and articulate their life purpose. Oh, that's chicken tikka masala that my neighbor made for me for dinner last night. I have this wonderful neighbor, Liza Sue, who is always cooking. So every night she cooks dinner for me. She cooks for her husband, but then she makes an extra plate for me. And sometimes just leaves it at my door if I'm on a call or something. She's the best.
Sonali says Samba is Brazilian, very fun and very hard. Upali says thanks, Sree and Patrice, for bringing ananda or joy in our lives. And Christopher is saying hi to his mom. And this is just so great that everybody's connecting. I love the artwork in the background, says Rich.
Thank you. Me too.
And Mark says, we do this every day on Thanksgiving, but we think we should do this every day and not just on Thanksgiving holiday. I think he's talking about the dance. Mutual respect and trust in life and being happy and joy is a cornerstone of life. Roberta says, thank you, Sree and Patrice. Sonali says, great show. Sonali is our sponsor tonight. We're so grateful.
Thank you, Sonali.
We're going to read her ad one more time as we do for all our sponsors.
Good.
And Mark says, great show. Love your spirit. And we'd love to have you as a guest on his podcast. So
thank you. I'd love to.
Follow Samba Girl and get Samba Gal and follow her.
Samba Gal.
Yes. Look at this. This you need to put on your website. It says,
yes, I love that.
Biggest gift, ma'am, in Eid. So that is amazing. We know your husband, who has passed away, was Muslim. So what a great, nice comment for you to receive today.
He'd be very happy. Yes.
Yeah, he would. And Anand says, it brings me joy watching these episodes of wisdom with wonderful speakers. Thank you. Every Sunday we do this here on this show, but I do this every day. So
I love it.
Yeah, we do every day. We have a show where we talk to different people. And this week we have an incredible range of guests. We're just grateful to all of you for supporting us. Please, please, please follow my YouTube channel. Just hit subscribe on SreeNet, my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to figure out when my episodes are. Look at the entire archive, 74 days of archive. And tomorrow you're going to get to come on my show. Anybody who'd like to be on my show and talk on the air and share your thoughts, I'd be most grateful if you did. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern on Monday, which is Tuesday morning, 6:30 in India. Roberta says, I'm trying to choose joy, and my purpose now is to finish my memoir during the stay-at-home order. It's the story of my 20 years in TV and my quest to work for social justice. And she has done a great job of that, Roberta, and I know the world would love to hear your stories. And Mark says the Doris Duke's family is pretty much what created the city of Duke and Durham. And they're so linked in all of Durham's history. I did not realize that. And that is amazing. Does what America been doing to our Latin brothers remind you of what Japanese Americans went through in the 30s and 40s? And I think you talked a little bit about that. Olinda is watching from Mumbai, and she says, greetings to you both. And Rick says, may you make joy more contagious. Very kind.
Yes.
Yeah. Why is there an inherent problem with humanity towards equitable living, social justice, equality? What is your answer?
I don't think people understand that we are all one, and we are all, if someone's suffering, we are suffering, and I just think that if we recognize that we are all one and in it together, so we have to care if someone in any part of the world is experiencing pain and suffering, because that means there is pain and suffering in our life. And I don't think we want pain and suffering in anyone's life. So it's incumbent upon us to see what we can do to alleviate the pain and suffering that we encounter in others.
Thank you. A friend of mine just wrote in to say thank you for asking that question about your husband, and she's grateful for that, and I'm grateful for you sharing that story. I really appreciate it. Janet said, incredible photo of your dad.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Ashok says, really great show. So many great comments coming in. Nitin saying, good morning. And Mark says that he was referring to the idea of giving gratitude for things every day and not just on one holiday.
Yes.
I love the idea of being grateful every day.
Yes. If you want to feel joy every day, then live in gratitude. And here's the thing. I did an experiment once, because every day I start my day asking for joy. And at the end of the day, before I go to bed, I count all the joyful episodes of the day. And I count each joyful episode, with the same weight. So if I had a nice conversation with someone down in our lobby, that's the same as winning a piece of business. It's joy, right? So every day I would count 8 to 10 joyful episodes. And then one day I realized that, wait a second, I'm just asking for joy. What if I ask for tremendous joy? Because words matter. And so I asked for tremendous joy that day. That evening when I came home and I started counting the joyful episodes, rather than the 8 to 10, I was counting 20 to 25. And I was so shocked that the simple insertion of, please, may I have tremendous joy. So words matter. So please, I'm always afraid when people say hurtful things to other people or hurtful things about themselves, because words matter, and there's a lot of harm or a lot of good that can be done with the choice of words that we choose. So please choose kind and loving and joyful words.
I love that. Ashok says, I try to support all those who are in pain and stress, and also supplement them financially and also with food. I think that's wonderful. Brian says, always great seeing your voice, your vibe on LinkedIn Live. Thank you very much. Mark is giving out his email address to invite Roberta, and his address is bluesradio@gmail. He wants guests on his podcast. Several of mine have been on his show. And Olinda says, tremendous joy to watch you both. How wonderful is that? So I think on that note, we will bring this conversation to a close. And one of our friends is waiting backstage for us, Patrice, I'm sorry. So she connected us. So I'm going to just say my goodbyes, and then I'm going to come back. So if you want to take a break and just join me back in the studio, I'll take you off, and then we'll meet in about 4 or 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Okay. Thank you so much, Sree. It's been such a joy for me to be on your show. And thank you for all the joy that you're bringing to so many people's lives during this time. And for 74 shows, that's a lot of work to produce all the joy that you've been producing for every one of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Look at this. Welcome to Kerala. You got a chat now. You got an invitation to go to Kerala. And Nikhil Hati sings, this was wonderful. I'll sleep better tonight. What a compliment.
Good. Yes.
Amazing. You are joyful. I love it. I just, EB says, I just used this time to make gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. So double joy. That's great. You don't have to watch. You can listen as we do this.
If you add chocolate to anything you do, yes, that is even more joyful.
Exactly. Double the joy. So I'm going to see you in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
You're going to take a break. I'm taking off camera, and we'll meet backstage. One of your friends is waiting backstage for you. So in
Aloha,
5 minutes.
everyone.
Okay. Aloha. Thank you very much. All right, folks, that was amazing. Thank you so much. What a joy we've had today. What a blessing we've had today. Meeting Patrice and talking to her has been such a great blessing for all of us. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. All those great comments. I am so grateful. We want to thank our sponsors. Please reach out to our sponsors because they make it possible to bring you this show. And this is our sponsor, a new sponsor that we have today. We're very grateful to PSC, or Priyamvada Sustainability Consulting, founded by Sonali Chitra in 2012. PSC's mission is to facilitate sustainable development and grow the green economy. What a great topic for today. PSC believes that deploying clean technologies provides a viable solution to solving the climate change crisis and creating sustainable development. Green technologies reduce greenhouse gas emissions, increase energy efficiency, use of renewable energy sources, provide sustainable infrastructure and transportation solutions, promote better waste management and recycling, increase building efficiency, reduce pollution, improve public health, and of course, create green jobs. So let PSC become your chief sustainability officer for your company. That is wonderful. Clean-futures.com. Clean-futures.com. Reach out to them. Everybody needs a chief sustainability officer. Maybe you can't afford to have your own full-time person, but just call them up and talk to them. You can see their services, clients, partnerships, and resources all on one page. Clean-futures.com. And our friend Sonali Chitra, who's been watching every day, has become a sponsor of this show. We're very grateful to her. And I also want to do a shout out to our big new project with Muckrack Academy, a free certification course that starts in June, Fundamentals of Social Media for Journalists, PR professionals, and everyone. Free certification course starts in June, but save your seat today. Free class that I'm teaching with Linda Bernstein, mrac.co/social, mrac.co/social. This is my contribution for all the trouble we're having. We want you to get a free certificate that you can put on your LinkedIn, on your resume, and learn the basics of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I am honored to do this with Muckrack. They are providing the resources for us to give this for free all over the world. Already 3,000 people have signed up in 1 week. You all know someone who could benefit. Please tell them. mrac.co/social, Fundamentals of Social Media for Journalists, PR professionals, that's public relations, and everyone. A free certification course starts in June, but save your seat today. mrac.co/social, and it's open to all ages, all experience levels, all industries. Everybody can benefit from this. Fundamentals of Social Media. Thank you very much, everyone. We're grateful to all of you for being here, for being part of our evening and all these shows. 74 shows. 75 is coming up. I cannot believe it. And I'm so grateful to everyone who made that possible. Tomorrow is our 75th show. On Tuesday, we're talking about The Spelling the Dream, a new Netflix documentary that you can see. It premieres this week, and the producers are going to be here and take your questions. On Wednesday, we're going to talk about good news and how you can talk about good news at a very difficult time with Janie Adams and David Beard of National Geographic. How exciting is that? And then on Thursday, we have an episode about fighting misinformation. And then we have 2 more days till our next positivity show, which is on next Sunday. So just amazing lineup of speakers, events, topics, and opportunities. Thank you for watching. Give us your ideas, give us your feedback, give us your speaker suggestions, self-nominations, welcome, and give us your sponsor ideas. We want to keep this going. It's 75 days tomorrow, and I'm so grateful to all of you for watching, every single one of you. The recording starts now so that you can watch it, and don't forget to give a big shout out and to look at joyfulplanet.com. Patrice Tanaka, Chief Joy Officer. Wonderful. She has left us all in a positive mood despite all the pain in the world, and she's offering each of you a free look at her questionnaire. Just write to Patrice at joyfulplanet.com. Patrice at joyfulplanet.com. An 11-point questionnaire that I'm going to sign up for. It's free, that helps you understand and find your purpose and find your joy. So thank you so much to Patrice. Thank you to all the folks who watched tonight. Thank you to our sponsor, Sonali Chitre. And thank you to everyone who's gotten us to 74 days. I cannot believe it, but I'm so grateful to everyone, including our wonderful producers, Vandana Menon and Rose Horowitz. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you soon. The comments are still coming. Janet says she's signed up. Looking forward to it, says Vidya. Your show is fabulous. Really, thank you, thank you, thank you. It means so much to me. I really appreciate it. Look at this. Dennis says, stay healthy, America. Smoke a cigarette and eat a McDonald's hamburger. We'll always have, I don't know if he's trolling us or he's just giving us good advice. Who knows? Nobody knows, but we're grateful to everybody. I want people to look at these wonderful comments that we had, including this beautiful comment that came from our dentist who was watching and had multiple questions and comments. It was just a great thing where he said that this is what the great gift that he's gotten on Eid is meeting Patrice. I'm so grateful to all of you. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night.